English shorthand dictation, speed 100 words per minute. Start. Mr. Deputy Chairman, Sir, the Honorable Minister of Trade and Commerce has made a statement yesterday on the ninth Ministerial Conference of the WTO at Bali. Before I came to the specific clarifications and queries, I wish to make just a brief point on the manner in which the old adverse agenda of the WTO against developing countries seems to have come back. I say this because Indian agriculture is in a precarious state. We have over 60% of the people dependent on agriculture for their livelihood, but the agriculture contributes only about 15% to the national GDP compared to the services sector and the manufacturing sector. Our agricultural sector is highly vulnerable, and therefore the national concern for agriculture is legitimate. As far as the global distortions and agricultural trade are concerned, these global distortions have never been because of any lack of market access by the developing countries. These have essentially been on account of subversion of global agricultural trade and on account of high subsidies by the developed countries, particularly the United States of America and the European Union. Sir, the original agreement on agriculture, which was entered into in 1994, itself is loaded against the developing countries. It is loaded against the developing countries. The states are giving subsidy on power. Sir, the honorable leader of the opposition has asked rather a detailed explanation on various issues, so I would not repeat them. But, sir, in a nutshell, I just want to say that the backdrop in which we are discussing this is clearly to be understood, that is crisis in Indian agriculture and the agrarian distress that we are currently facing, which is leading to unabated continuance of distress, suicides by our farmers. Therefore, this acquires certain importance which is enlarged more than what it is in normal circumstances. Hence, I have 6 clarifications to seek from the Honorable Minister. The first one is trade facilitation was not an issue or part of the original Doha development agenda. In this Doha round, which is an ongoing process, how did India agree to trade facilitation without any forward movement on any issues mentioned in the Doha development agenda, and how the government gave a legally binding agreement, that is trade facilitation, to get a temporary solution on food security. I do not want to elaborate the temporary nature, as the honorable leader of the opposition has already mentioned about it. It is temporary in nature and is universally accepted. Now, my first query is, have you given a legally binding agreement in order to get a temporary solution? Secondly, sir, trade facilitation was developed countries' agenda and it benefits the developed countries rather than the developing countries. All of us know that. the Honorable Minister himself agrees to it. Did the government conduct any study to assess the benefit for India from such trade facilitation agreement? If it was done, why is it not made public? Now, sir, according to the Honorable Minister, many aspects of trade facilitation agreement are already being implemented by India as autonomous policy measures. So, there was no danger in agreeing to this trade facilitation agreement. Sir, there is a clear difference between autonomous policy measures and a legally binding agreement because autonomous policy measures are our autonomy. We can withdraw them, we can change them whenever we want, or we can amend them. But the moment it is a legally binding international agreement, we are bound by it. So, through this agreement, India has legally locked its policy measures and submitted itself to the WTO's disputes settlement mechanism. This is how I read it. In other words, if we ourselves are implementing these measures, why do we need a legally binding agreement which will bind us in future and open to disputes mechanism? I want to know as to how is the government going to implement this trade facilitation agreement? What is the cost of its implementation? If you are going to meet this implementation cost through flow of foreign funds, then you are opening up to FDI and your entire services sector. As the honorable leader of the opposition said today, agriculture contributes less than 20% of our GDP and the service sector is about 60%. So, if you want foreign funding, it has to come from nowhere else but from services, in which case we are just making our economy much more vulnerable. Sir, it appears that in order to gain this interim mechanism which will operate till a final mechanism is found, we have conceded our position on many issues. We have heard that final mechanism may be 4 years down the line. Now, in order to achieve this interim mechanism, we have conceded our position on many of the other issues in our urge to get this interim mechanism to save our existing Food Security Act. We have passed the Food Security Act. I am not happy and I want to expand it further. Now, according to your agreement in Bali, my reading is you cannot expand it any further.